Now I'm on a stretch of river at the moment called the 7 Mile Reach, and it's called that simply because it's the straightest section on the river, and it goes straight for a distance of about 7 miles like the name suggests. And it's certainly a nice change to go straight for a while after having so many twists and turns and bends for the last 460 kilometres. The only problem is, however, with having such a long straight stretch of 7 miles, and at the moment I've got a headwind the whole way, it gives me 7 miles of chop to go through. But anyway, it's still nice to go straight for a while. This little town up here to my left is a small town of Berry, and back in 1910 it was first thought to be a fine spot to establish an irrigation regime. So then just a year later it was first settled. But now it has over 4,000 hectares of irrigated orchards and vineyards, and it produces over 7,000 tonnes of dry fruit a year and well over 40,000 tonnes of fresh grapes, citrus fruit and vegetables. And if you like your wine, there's a place just up the river a little bit called the Berry Estate Winery. And there they produce over 7 million litres of wine a year. So I guess if you like your wine, then Berry's the place to be. It's been about 42 kilometres since we left the small town of Berry, just down the river a bit there, and we're now coming into the very popular tourist town of Renmark, which if you look on your map is in a roundabout way right in the corners of New South Wales, South Australia and Victoria. Now, this town is where the first irrigation project in Australia was implemented, and it was done so by two Canadian brothers, George and Charles Chaffee. That was back in 1895. Now, the name they had going for the scheme at the time was a Renmark Irrigation Scheme. But unfortunately, that whole project went bankrupt. But because the locals could see such a benefit to what the brothers had started, they bonded together and started their own irrigation scheme, which was called the Renmark Irrigation Trust. But if I can find somewhere to park the trailcraft up here, we'll stop and take a walk into town and I'll show you a little bit around the place, because it's a very interesting spot.
Now, this first place that we see here is the original building used by the Chaffee brothers in the 1890s, and it was here that the two brothers went about designing and building everything that was needed to bring irrigation to life here in Renmark. And it was by using all the natural resources that were found around the area that logs were cut along with stone blocks that were carved to be used for the building's floor, and then step by step and log by log and stone by stone the Chaffee brothers' house was built. Now, the finished product and the original pump that the Chaffee brothers designed is now on display in the main street of Renmark for all to see. You see, what this pump would do is suck water from the river and then move it all around the land of Renmark to help irrigate the dry and dusty ground, which then helped turn the earth into the valuable and usable soil that the farmers have today. Now, the pump that we see is powered by a compound double-action steam engine, which has itself a 38cm outlet to help move all the water around. Now, I don't know what that means exactly, but it certainly sounds impressive. But there is one other thing that you must visit here in Renmark if you're ever in the area, and it's totally free of charge, and it's located at the town's Visitor and Information Centre. And what this is the PS Industry, which is an old steam-powered paddle steamer that has been restored back to its beautiful original condition. Now the PS Industry was originally designed and built to help unsnag the Murray River. You see, for years you could hardly travel any distance through the water without hitting snags or submerged logs, and it was then that vessels like this one here would travel through the river, pulling out logs and debris to help make the water safe and clear of dangers for other boats and paddle wheelers, so they could use the river and help open up the area for trade and settlement. But that wasn't all this great paddle steamer was used for after her time had come and there was no more snags to pull, she was then used as a towboat and later on a construction platform to help build all the locks and the weirs along the river here.
Now we're just upstream from Renmark, and this whole area is called Chawilla in the Aboriginal language. And if you translate that into English, it means place of mystery and death. So just to be on the safe side, and since I'm all alone, I don't think I'm going to stop here. Now we're just coming up to Lock 6 now, and as you can see behind me, we're going really slow. For about the last 4 or 5 kilometres we've had really shallow water, so I've got the engine trimmed right up, so just the props in the water, and we're trying to chug along at this speed. Now the depth, I'm not sure how shallow it is because I've got no depth sounder, but what I've been doing, if I've got a spare second, is I've got this big depth pole, which is just a broom handle, and I stick it in. See if I can touch the bottom. At the moment I can't, so that's pretty good. But for a long while there, we kept hitting at about depth height, so it's very shallow. Now the temperature, I just dropped the thermometer, but it was reading 46 degrees. So it's awfully hot. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, that way you'll get notified to all my new videos when I upload them. And if you want to contact me, you can do so through my website. The link's in the description below. See you next time.